You know how it is. You're trying to book a trip, scrolling through what feels like a million reviews for a hotel. You see a bunch of five-star ratings and you think, okay, great, this is the one. But is that really why you're clicking book?
It feels like it should be simple, right? A great review leads directly to a booking. It's a straight line. But what if I told you that's not really how our brains work? The real story is a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah, according to a really fascinating study from 2021, the way online reviews influence us is actually way more subtle than we think. So let's pull back the curtain on what's really going on.
Okay, first up, we need to talk about something we'll call the review delusion. This is the common idea we all have about how online reviews work, an idea that's missing a key piece. So in the world of research, all those reviews, all those star ratings, all those blog comments, they have a name. It's called electronic word of mouth, or eWOM for short. Basically, it's any opinion you find online, and it's what gets this whole process started.
And let's be clear, eWOM is a huge deal. I mean, think about it. We don't just look at the glossy brochures from the hotel anymore, do we? No, we dive headfirst into what other travelers are saying. It's become totally fundamental to how we plan our trips.
Which leads us to the model that most of us probably have in our heads. It's simple. Step 1, you read a great review. Step 2, you plan your trip. Easy. But here's the thing. That's where we're missing a critical piece of the puzzle.
And that brings us to the biggest aha moment in this whole study. There is a hidden step that happens right in the middle, a step that goes on inside our own heads, and we might not even notice it's happening. That hidden step is called destination preference, and this is so important. It's not about making the final choice. Not yet. It's about building an attitude. It's about your brain taking that destination and putting it on a little mental pedestal, ranking it higher than all the other options. So this is what's actually going on. That simple two-step process is really a three-step journey. You read the review, which helps you build a preference for a place. And then once that preference is locked in, that's what pushes you to actually plan the trip. Let that sink in for a second. The review's main job isn't to get you to click buy now. Its first, most critical job is to win the battle for your preference. Once a destination is number one on your mental leaderboard, actually booking it is almost a formality. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Because it turns out, not everyone is influenced in the exact same way. There's another factor at play here, one that acts like an amplifier on this whole process. So you have to ask, right? Does that glowing review for a resort in Bali hit a casual browser the same way it hit someone who spent months planning the perfect honeymoon? Well, the research says, absolutely not. The secret ingredient, the thing that changes everything, is what the study calls your level of consumer involvement. And that's really just a fancy way of saying how much you actually care, how motivated you are to dig into the information. And this really breaks down into two kinds of travelers. On one hand, you have the low-involvement person. They're just glancing at the star rating, maybe a pretty picture. They're using what you could call mental shortcuts. But the high-involvement traveler, they're doing the homework. They're reading tons of reviews, comparing different sites, and really thinking it through. So, which one are you? All right, so let's recap. We have the reviews, the eWOM, we have that hidden middle step, the preference, and we have the amplifier, your personal involvement. Now let's put it all together and see what the data actually showed. And boom, this chart says it all. For the casual browsers, the low involvement group, yeah, the reviews had an effect. But look at the high involvement group, the people who were really invested. For them, the influence of those reviews was way, way stronger. The takeaway here is crystal clear. The more you care about a trip, the more power those online reviews have over you. And when the researchers checked their work, the whole theory held up. They proved that yes, reviews build preference, yes, that preference leads to travel plans, and crucially, yes, how involved you are totally amplifies the whole thing. Every single link in that chain was supported by the data. Okay, so this is all really cool from a psychology standpoint, but what's the so what? What does this actually mean for you and me in the real world? Let's get into the practical takeaways. For us as travelers, this is huge. First, just be aware of your own involvement level. Are you skimming or are you really digging in? Second, Realize that your preference for a place is being built little by little long before you think you've decided. And maybe most importantly, see that 5-star rating for what it really is. Not an objective fact, but a tool designed to influence you.
And if you're a marketer in the tourism industry, this is basically a treasure map. It shows you that the goal isn't just to get 5 stars. The goal is to create rich, engaging stories and provide quality information that gets people highly involved. That's how you build that deep-seated preference that really leads to bookings.
Just as the researchers themselves put it, this study opens up brand new ways for marketers to promote tourism. It's not just an observation, it's a new strategy guide, all based on understanding this powerful web of reviews, preferences, and personal involvement. So the next time you're deep in the weeds of planning a trip and you find yourself leaning toward one place, just stop and ask yourself, who's really calling the shots here? Is it you? Or is it the preference that was so carefully built you didn't even notice it happening?